はい、皆さん、こんにちは。お元気ですか？リサです。Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, はじめまして。I'm Lisa. Today's video is going to be about money in Japanese. And of course, at the same time, you also need to know numbers in Japanese. That is also covered in today's lesson itself. Are you guys ready? Let's get started. 始めましょう。There are a lot of instances where you need to know the knowledge of saying money in Japanese, in words or in figures. And imagine shopping in Tokyo and you are tongue-tied about your money amount, or let's say you want to exchange your currency into yen, the Japanese currency, then what if you don't know to say it in Japanese? I know translations can work at that time, but still, let's have a little knowledge of money in Japanese in today's video. In order to say or count an amount of money, you also need to know the numbers in Japanese. Of course, you can watch the previous videos on numbers. I really don't think I've uploaded a video yet, so that is why I thought that I should combine the numbers in Japanese along with this video, which is how to say a money in Japanese. So this video is going to be, it might be a little lengthy, but I'm sure it's informative because it's a combination of learning numbers and then being able to say amount of money in Japanese. So it's gonna be fun, I promise. In today's lesson, you'll learn loads of things, which includes numbers in Japanese from 1 to 1000. Believe me, I'm not lying. Second is identifying money. That is, you will be able to identify how the coins and the notes of the Japanese currency look like. You will also be able to say an amount of money in words. Let's say I gave you a figure like 2,500 and something. You will be able to say it in Japanese, that is in words. We'll also have a short quiz to ensure that you really understood whatever I taught you, and at the end, we'll implement this knowledge into a short conversation, a real-life conversation during shopping that you can generally encounter. And the last is a short homework, or I can say a brain teaser for you guys. For answer, I want it in the comments. So let's get started. First, let us learn the numbers in Japanese. If you already know the numbers in Japanese, it's okay to skip this part. I will try to give the timestamps in the comments or in the descriptions. So it's easy to skip this part if you already know the numbers. You shouldn't waste your time. But if you want to review, I suggest you should, because maybe you've forgotten or something. It's a nice way to review concepts sometimes. So sometimes reviewing is very important. Numbers is basically bango in Japanese. Hope you knew that. Now you might think the number is from 1 to 1000. It looks like a mathematical thing, so it must be difficult, right? No, it's not. I can promise you guys. Recently, when I've been studying French, the French numbers are just so irregular. They really don't follow basic mathematics or something, but there are a lot of irregularities which are just given as exceptions and you have to memorize them. That seriously doesn't happen in Japanese. And I feel lucky that I'm teaching you Japanese and not French. So feel yourself lucky because Japanese numbers really follow a basic mathematics. And once you have learned the number from 1 to 10, I can ensure that you have learned 90% of the topic. I'm not lying. From 1 to 10, just these 10 numbers can make you learn a variety of things about numbers in Japanese. Without talking much, let me prove this guys to you. These are the basic numbers from 1 to 10 in Japanese. There's English, Romaji, Hiragana, as well as kanjis given up here. This is the basic lesson, but in case if you want to improve your kanjis, please look at the kanjis. I'm not going in deep for them. 1 is ichi. Ni. 2 is ni. 3 is san. 4 is yon or shi. There are two ways to say 4, yon or shi. Depending on situations, you have to choose either yon or shi. We'll also talk about the situations later in this video. 5 is go. 6 is roku. 7 is nana or shichi. Just like 4, 7 has also two ways to be said. Nana or shichi. 8 is hachi. 9 is kyu or ku. Kyu or ku. And 10 is ju. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, or shi, go, roku, nana or shichi, hachi, kyu or ku, and ju. Actually, the first options, which is yon, nana, and kyu, are most common to hear. But there are some situations when you cannot use them and you have to stick to this shi, shichi, or ku. We'll be talking about them. Situations like when saying time, when saying month, and all. So, yeah. Now, when you've learned the basic numbers from 1 to 10, let's move on with the numbers from 11 to 20. As I promised, after learning numbers from 1 to 10, a lot of the other things become very simplified in Japanese. Let me prove this guys to you. 11 is basically 10 plus 1, right? So, according to basic mathematics, 10 is ju, 1 is ichi. So, 11 becomes juichi. Makes absolute sense, right? 11, think of 11 as 10 plus 1. In the very same way, 12 is going to be 10 plus 2. 10 plus 2. 10 stands for ju and 2 stands for ni. The 12 becomes ju ni. Can you guess what 13 would be? Of course, 10 plus 3. Ju san. 14, 15, of course you can do this. Just add 1, 2, 3 after 10. 10 plus 1, juichi. 10 plus 2, juni. As I said, basic mathematics. So 13 again is ju-san. 14, ju-yon. Yep, here is where I want to focus. We never say ju-shi when saying 14. I said there are two ways to say 4, yon or shi. But when saying 14, that is the numbers about 10, we always stick to the first option, yon. Same applies for 17 and 19. So 17 is ju, nana, and not ju, shichi. Nana and shichi are the two ways to say 7. But when you are saying numbers about 11, as in 17, stick to the first option, which is nana. In case of 19, again stick to the first option, which is q. So it becomes ju, q. What about 20? Well, 20 is not 10 plus 10. 20 is a bit different. So from numbers from 11 to 19, it was 10 plus the rest of the number. Now when you're talking about the multiples of 10, and another basic mathematical rule is going to apply over here. Let's review first from 11 to 19 and then we'll move on for the multiples of 10, which is 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and so on in Japanese. So 11, as we saw, is juichi. Juichi. Okay, there's a mistake over here in Romaji. So stick to the hiragana part. 12 is juni. 13 is ju-san. Everywhere 10 plus 1, 10 plus 2, 10 plus 3, the same logic. 14 is ju-yon. 15 is ju-go. 16 is ju-roku. 17 is ju-nana. 18 is ju-hachi. And 19 is ju-kyu. Now it's time that we move on to the multiples of 10. As I said, numbers from 11 to 19 follow a 10 plus something something pattern. But for multiples, you have to stick to a little different method. Let's start with 20. Just like how we broke up 11 as 10 plus 1, 20 can literally be written as 2 into 10. Very fair. 2 is ni, as we learned, and 10 is ju. So 20 becomes niju. Makes absolute sense, minasan. So just remember, numbers from 11 to 19 are 10 plus something something, while multiples of 10 follow the rule of the number into 10, because it's the multiple of 10, of course, makes sense. 30 is the multiple of 10 3 times, which is 3 into 10. That's how we write 30, right? 3 into 10. 3 is 3, And 10 is, we already know, Ju. So 30 becomes Sanju. What about 40? Can you guess it? 4 is Yon and 10 is Ju. Yeonju. 50 is 5 into 10. Goju. Goju. 60. 6 into 10. Rokuju. 70. 7 into 10. Nanaju. Again, you're following the first options in the numbers which have two pronunciation. For 4, we stick to yon, and for 7, we stick to nana and not chi. 80 is hachiju, and 90 is hyuju. Okay, what about 100? 100 seems to be 10 into 10, right? So shouldn't it be juju? But no, that's not the case. Of course, it's fair. 100 is a very perfect amount, so there has to be a term for it, right? 100 is not 10 into 10. It's not juju as you thought. Nope. So you'll be like, Risa, you told that we are supposed to multiply it with the number, right? But that doesn't apply in 100. I'm sorry. 100 is called as haku. Haku. There's a small ya, so it's not hyaku. It becomes hyaku, a combined sound of hi and ya. Hyaku. So remember, 100 is hyaku and not juju. There's nothing as such. So, okay. Just to test if you got it, whatever I taught you so far, why don't you answer this question? And if you want time, you can actually rewind the video and watch it one more time. Because if you're learning this for the first time, it can be a lot of information. Not much, but of course, the first attempt, it is new. But if you're reviewing this, then you must have got everything very crystal clear. Can you say what 41 is in Japanese? Okay, I gave you very less time. It's 41. Simple to break it. 41 is basically 40 plus 1. And 40 is 40 for 10. And 1 is ichi. 41. As I said, numbers follow really great mathematics in Japanese. So if you are really good at mathematics of a third standard grade, you can obviously do this. These are the kanjis if you want to see. Let's talk about the multiples of 100 this time, as in 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and so on. 100's multiple follow again the simple rule as we were seeing before. 100 is hyaku as we saw. What can 200 be then? Of course, 2 and 100. 2 is ni and 100 is hyaku, so ni hyaku. However, there is a little difference when it comes to 300. 300 is not sanhyaku, it's in fact sanbyaku. Sanbyaku. 400 is again 4 into 100, which is yonhyaku. It's the normal pattern. 500, 5 into 100, gohyaku. 600 is again a little different sound. It's not rokuhyaku, it's ropyaku. Ropyaku. I'll come to this point, but let me just complete these 4. 700, 700, 700, 700. 800 again has a little different sound. It's not hachihyaku, but it's hapyaku. Hapyaku. 900 is kyuhyaku. And you have to stick to the first option, Q here. Even in case of 4, we use yon and not she. Even in case of 7, where there were 2 pronunciations, we stuck to the first one. So that's what I said at the beginning of the lesson. Then in most of the situation, you stick to the first option, which is yon, nana, and Q. Okay. Coming back to these 3 rare cases, 300, 600, and 800. These 3 numbers in the multiples of 100 follow a little change in their pronunciation. And what's the reason behind this? Well, not anything as great, but it's just for the ease of your pronunciation. Sanhyaku sounds very difficult to pronounce in Japanese. So to make it in more flow, they say sanbyaku. So the hyaku becomes byaku. The H sound is replaced by the B sound over here. In 600, rokuhyaku. Rokuhyaku sounds much like a pain to your throat, I guess. So it's ropyaku. Ropyaku. Of course, it comes more swiftly to Japanese. Then 800 is not hachihyaku. It's not hachihyaku, it's happyaku. Happyaku. So they have doubled the P sound. Ropyaku, happyaku. And in 300, there's a B sound. Sanbyaku. Okay, I hope this makes sense. One more thing. In English, when we want to say 101, 101, we say 101. In Japanese, we really never add this and, which is to. We don't add it. We simply say 101 as 101. 101. So 101 is how we say it. So there's nothing as and in Japanese. So don't make that mistake. What about the large numbers? 1000 is sen. Sen. And whenever you see 4 zeros, it stands for man. Man. 4 zeros in the sense 10,000. Let's move on to the next half part of this video, which is about money. Money is okane. Okane. We will learn about the different currency, the different notes, the different types of coins that are seen in Japan, and a lot more about the Japanese currency and how to say them in words. Did you know that the Japanese currency is called as yen in English? It's pronounced more like N in Japanese, but it's okay to pronounce it yen as well. Both are the same. Really, when you speak them, the difference isn't really noticed. These are certain notes that you see in the Japanese currency. The coin number 1 is the coin for 1 yen. 1 yen literally is 1 yen, right? The next coin is 5 yen. 5 means 5 and yen means the currency. 5 yen. That's how the coin looks like if you have seen it in animes or mangas. The coin for number 10, or the coin for 10 yen is 10 yen. 10 yen. Also, please note the symbol for yen. It's more like a Y with an is equal to sign at its trunk. Then we have the coin for 50 yen. Japanese have a coin for 50 as well. My currency doesn't have it. Does your currency have it? 50 yen is 50 yen. Go means 5 and ju means 10. So 5 into 10, 50. And then we add n. So you're basically reviewing the grammar of the mathematics that we applied before. 100, there's a coin for 100 as well in Japanese, which is 100 yen. If you remember correctly, 100 is 100, right? So 100 yen. So 1 yen, 5 yen, 10 yen, 50 yen, 100 yen. These are the coins that are seen in the Japanese currency. Okay, I think ice cream is for around 100 yen. Yeah. And there's one more coin which is for 500. Yes, Japanese have a coin for 500 yen. 500 yen is not so expensive. 100 yen is not at all expensive. So 500 can be 5 into 100, right? 5 is go, 100 is 100. So it becomes go 100. And then you add n. Go 100 yen. There are certain notes now which you need to know. And then there are pictures on them of the great personalities that we have in the Japanese history. There's a note for 1,000, which is 1,000. 1,000 in Japanese is sen-en. Sen, as I said before, is 1,000. And then you add the currency en. Sen-en. There is also a note for 2,000. 2,000 is definitely 2 into 1,000, which is ni sen en. There is again a note for 5,000, which is go sen en. Go means 5 and sen means 1,000, 5,000. Then there's a note for 10,000. And do you remember that 10,000 in Japanese is what? It's man. So, 1,000,000 yen. Well, basically, I told you to remember 4 zeros as man. So, okay, there is supposed to be one more zero over here. So, 4 zeros stand for man, and the 1 is ichi. So, 1 followed by 4 zeros. 1, ichi, 4 zeros, man. 1,000,000 yen. Does it make sense to you guys? So, did you understand it all? You really need to go through these currency a lot many times to remember them. Although it's not much like remembering because obviously the figure is written on the currency on the right and the left top hand corner. So of course you can recognize which note it is, but still you should go through this. So if you really understood this, why not test it? We're going to test your money, how well you understood the money concept. And of course, it's also indirectly going to test how much you understood about the Japanese numbers. Because to say an amount of money, you need to know the numbers as well. So make sure you understood them and then only attempt this test. I'm sure you can do this. So let's get started. Can you pronounce these prices correctly? I'm going to show you certain prices and I'm expecting that you know how to pronounce them in words. In the sense, I'll give you random notes and random coins and also give you the sum of what the total amount is. You just have to pronounce it. Like, what is this amount in words? Make sense? Okay, let's get started. What amount is it? You can see 2 coins for 100 and you'll get around 3 to 5 seconds. Feel free to pause the video and take more time because maybe you're learning this for the first time, maybe you're reviewing this accordingly, you can take less or more time. It's okay. Just give me the right answer. 2 coins for 100 gives you of 200 yen. How do you say 200 yen in Japanese? Very simple, right? 200 is 2 into 100. Very basic math that we saw. 2 is ni and 100 is 100. Ni 100 yen. 200 yen. It was simple, right? Or am I going too fast? So ni 100 yen. 200 yen. What about this? 3 coins for 100. 300 yen. It's the same. 3 into 100. 300. And you add n. So did you guess it's 300 yen? No, it's not. Remember that san follows a little bit change in its pronunciation when you are multiplying it with 100. Like it's not 300, but it became 300. It also follows in the case of 600 and 800. 600, 800, we just saw it. So if your memory is very strong, you must have remembered that fact and gave me the answer 300 yen. And if you gave 300 yen, that's absolutely correct. If you gave 300 yen, you just missed a little part. That's okay. What about this? 400. This is going very easy, I understand, but slowly there are going to be huge amounts. So, yeah. 400 is 4 into 100. 4 is hyon. 100 is 100. 400 yen. Simple as that. 400 yen. What about 600 yen? The amount is increasing, minasan. 600 is 6 into 100. 6 is 6. 100 is 100. So is 600 yen the answer? No. I just explained the fact. 600, 800, and 300 have a little different pronunciation which you need to note. So 600, is 600円。600円. Okay. Can you guess this one? Well, not guess. 700. There's a coin for 500 and 2 coins for 100. Together gives you 500, 600, 700. So 700 yen in Japanese becomes exactly 7 into 100. The basic mathematics. I'm teaching to a 3rd standard grade mathematics. 7 into 100. 700 then add n. 700 yen. As I said, stick to nana and not shichi when you want to say 7 in Japanese. The first option. 700 yen, 700 yen. What about 800 yen? 1 coin of 500, 3 coin per 100 gives you 800 yen. I'm really not asking you to add them and then give the answer because it requires more time. I've given you the figure, it's 800 yen. Give me in words. 800. Does anything click in your brain? It's one of those amount which has a little different pronunciation. I've repeated it twice, and if you were very careful with your ears open, you understood this. 800 follows a different pronunciation, just like 600 or 300. So 800 is not 800. No, it's not that. It's 8 into 100, which is 800. But a little change would make it 800 yen. 800. So I'm again repeating 300, 300, 600, 600, 800, 800. Okay. I hope you understood this. What about 1,000? You have this note. 1,000 yen. How do you say this? You remember the term which we used for 1,000? In case if you're good at kanjis, there's also a kanji on the note. You can take a help of that. 1,000 is sen. Sen, a single term. Also, one point that you should note is that when you say 1,000 yen, we don't say ichi sen en. We don't add 1. Basically, sen itself means 1,000. It includes the 1 and 1,000, everything inside. Okay? But in case of man, we do say ichi man en. And that's why I said that remember man as 4 zeros and not 1 included. But sen means 1 and 3 zeros all included all together. Am I making sense? Hope I am. So, sen en, 1,000 yen. Okay. 6,000 yen. You can try this. The figure given includes one note of 5,000 yen and one note for 1,000 yen. Together gives you 6,000 yen. Can you say this in words? So it becomes 6,000, which is 6 into 1,000. 6 is roku and 1,000 is sen. Roku sen en. I hope it's getting easy. I'm not going too fast. And you people are free to pause the video because if I include the time in which you think, the video will become long, right? So yeah, please feel free to pause the video. So far was the easier part. So if you're feeling like this is going too easy, wait, hold on. This is the difficult part. Not so difficult if you are not watching this for the first time. In the sense, if you have a little idea of this topic already, everything is easy. But for beginners, this part is going to be a little tough. Because you see the amount, 6,525. I remember when I was a kid and I was made to write these figures into words in English, so difficult. 6,525 yen. How do you say this in words? So this is the amount that you see on the screen. One note of 5,000 yen, one note of 1,000 yen, and then you have a coin for 500, and then you have 2 coins for 10, and 1 coin for 5. What am I saying? This together means 6,525. Added this all. 6,525. Take time because this is a larger amount. So, yeah. Are you guys ready? 6,525 is, you have to break it down And I know you'll be like, will I keep on breaking it down when I'm at the currency shop? No, you're not. But this will become very obvious and very instinct to you after you practice it for a shorter period of time. So it's for the first time that you feel like it's a huge mathematics that I have to do in my brain, and it will take a lot of time. But I promise it looks harder than it actually is. 6,525 is 6,000 plus 500 plus 25. Basic mathematics. 6,000 is basically roku sen, right? Sen means thousand. Roku sen, 6,000. Then say 500. Go hyaku, 500. And then we have 25. We saw 20 was niju and 5 is go. One more time, slowly. 6,525. 6,000, 6,000. 5,000, 500. 25, 25 yen. Does it make sense? I have color coded them in the same color, so if you find my explanation is not enough for you to clearly understand them, pause the video and compare yourself the colors and you will understand what means which means what means which, vice versa. So 6,525 in words is 6,525 yen. Okay, sounds like a spell or something. 7,000 yen. A note for 5,000 and 2 notes for 1,000 yen. Together, 7,000 yen. It's easier than the previous one, right? It doesn't involve much of mathematics. Simply say 7 and then say 1,000. You have to break the amount. It will not come instinct to you. Break the amount and you'll get the answer. 7,000, 7 into 1,000, 7 is nana and 1,000 is sen. And then you add n. Don't forget to add n at the end, okay? 7,000 n, nana, sen, n. One more thing, while writing in figures, the sign comes before the figure, and while writing in words, we add it at the end. It's common sense. Okay. This one seems little difficult than the previous one, right? It's 15,600. Scary. How do you say this? The amount is on your screen. Now you're introduced to the largest amount, which is the note for 10,000 is given, and then you have one more note for 5,000. And then you have a coin for 500 and one coin for 100. Together, 15,600, right? I hope my calculation is not going wrong here. 15,600, that's right. 15,600, how do you say that in words in Japanese? Remember that 4 zeros stands for a man. I keep on repeatedly saying this to you. 4 zeros man, 4 zeros man, 3 zeros 10. Okay, time to show the answers. So 15,000 can be broken up as you see on the screen. The notes that I've given you, break them up into them. So first note is for 10,000. So as I said, 10,000 is 1 and 4 zeros. 1 is ichi. Listen carefully. 1 is ichi. 4 zeros is man. So it becomes 10,000. Next is the note for 5,000. 5,000. 5 is go. 1,000 is sen. Makes sense? Then we have 600. 6 is roku and 100 is hyaku. But we know that it's not roku hyaku, it's 600. 600. So together, 15,600 yen. One more time, I'm going through this slowly because it's a large amount. 1,506. 1,500? Sorry, 10,500 and 600. What am I saying? 10,000 plus 500. Okay, give me a moment. 10,000 plus 5,000 plus 600. Those zeros got me confused. So, as you see on the screen, the total sum amount is 15,600. Let's break it into 10,000 plus 5,000 plus 600. 10,000 is 1,000,000. if you simply memorize it. 1만. No need to break it as 1 and then man. If you simply memorize 10,000 as 1만, things are going to get simpler. 10,000, 1만. 5,000, 5,000. 5,000. Then we have 600, 600. And then you add n. Again, they are color coded in the same way, like 5 in English over here and in Japanese over here is in the same color. So if you find anything confusing, pause the video and take a time to compare these both. I hope my explanation is enough for you to understand, because I've already explained the logic behind this in the previous part of this video before we started the quiz, right? But I'm still hoping you don't have any confusion. If you have, please feel free to let me know in the comments. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed and also understood whatever I explained, and then you also got the answers right in the quiz. Quiz was kind of longer. I really never have these long quiz in my videos, but this time this topic was more conceptual, like mathematical, and you had to practice it a lot. And I know you guys are lazy and you're gonna practice it on your own, so why not practice right here? How many answers did you get right? Let me know in the comment box. I'm eager to know. Now, video hasn't ended over here. We are going to look at a small conversation, as I said. What's the use of all this when you really not implement into your daily life? We are going to look at a conversation. And did you know conversation is called as kaiwa in Japanese? This conversation is at the Japanese food store. So when you are at the store, of course, the conversation involves something related to money. So the two characters are the shop clerk and the customer. Shop clerk says, いらっしゃいませ。こんにちは. Which means, welcome to the store. Hello. Then the customer says, こんにちは。鮭のおにぎりがありますか? Do you have the salmon onigiri? The rice bowl, basically. Customer says, はい、あります。何個いりますか? Customer says, 1個はいくらですか? The shop clerk says, 1個は130円です。The customer says, じゃあ、3個ください。Could you give me 3, please? If you're wondering what this ko means, it's the counter for roundish things like onigiri. So yeah, 1個、何個、3個, these are all counting the number of onigiri. The amount that we saw here was 130, 130. So he says, はい、390円です。A customer says, はい. This hi doesn't mean yes. It's like, yeah, here you go. So he hands the money in the clerk's hand and he says, yeah, here you go. Hi can mean different depending upon the context, right? The shop clerk says, 110円のお釣りです。ありがとうございます。So this is a change of 110 yen. Thank you very much. The customer also says, ありがとうございます. Thank you very much. The time for the brain teaser or the homework question. If you listen to the conversation very carefully, and if you didn't take it lightly, you must be able to answer this question. How many yen did the customer hand over to the shopkeeper? It's not difficult. It's all about attention. So you know how much the onigiri costed. You know how much the customer got back as a change. So of course you can calculate how much he gave to the clerk, right? Smart enough to calculate? Let me know in the comments. If you're watching this concept for the first time, I would really recommend you to watch more time along with making notes, because it was a lot of information for the first time. So you're not gonna, grab everything at first. You need time, you need practice. So watch this video one more time. If possible, if you're not lazy enough, please make notes. Notes really help. So it's okay if you didn't get everything. You'll get it with time. That's it for today's video. You can hit the like button if you want to show your appreciation towards my videos. And if you have already subscribed, thank you so much. If you haven't yet, you can subscribe if you think I deserve. So, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next lesson. 見てくれてありがとうございました。バイバイ皆さん。またね